I'm James Taylor, and this is my game, Table Tiles. Table Tiles is a light wagering and probability game. It lasts 10 to 15 minutes, it accommodates 2 to 6 players, and right now we have it set up for 3 players. So what we're going to do is go through the setup, and I'm going to point out what everything in the game is, and then we're going to walk through a round. And my intention is just to get you set up so that you understand kind of the flow of the game and how everything works. Okay, so in the middle here we have the bank. From these face-down tiles, to start the game, every player takes 3 face-down tiles and flips them face-up. So everybody should be able to see everybody else's starting tiles. Every player should also start with a wager card, which I have here, and 2 of these dark gray point cubes. These are worth 1 point each. And over here, what we see is this is a distribution card. So this card is for 2 to 3 players, and this is the distribution that we're going to use in the game. Of all the tiles here, 12 of them are going to be swords, 10 of them are going to be birds, and 6 of them are going to be mountains. Over here we have the setup card. So the setup card has 3 different sections. There's the wager section, the resource section, and the mystery section. To set up the wager area here, what we're going to do is take 4 face-down tiles, and those are going to be randomly drawn from the bank, and we're going to set up our little wager stack there. Similarly, we're going to take 4 face-down tiles and set up our resource stack there. And then last but not least, we'll take 2 face-down tiles and we'll put them on our little mystery area there. So first of all, the mystery tiles aren't going to be revealed for the entire game. They are removed from play. They're just out of the probability pool. And we'll see how these different stacks work as we walk through a round of the game. Last but not least, last but not least for the setup, I want to point out that there are different types of victory points over here. So these dark charcoal looking ones, these are 1 victory point each, the silver ones are 5, and the gold ones are 10. Okay, let's start a round. Before flipping over the top tile from the wager stack, every player has the opportunity to wager tiles that they own on their wager card. So let's say I really thought a bird was going to come out of this wager stack. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my tiles and I'm going to use it as a marker to say, hey, I'm wagering 1 tile that a bird will come out of that wager stack. And that's how I would do that. Now let's say this player over here was so sure that a sword was going to come out of there that they might take 2 of their tiles and place them on the sword location. And this player started with 1 of each, so they might just abstain from wagering, and we'll see how that works out for them. That's totally valid. When it comes to wagering, it's important to know that you can do anything with the tiles that you own. So I could wager all 3 of them on 1 location like that, or I could break them up and I could wager on 2 different locations simultaneously, or I could wager 1 tile on each location if I thought that would be helpful. But I'm not going to for now. For now I'm just going to wager my 1 sword on this bird icon or position on the wager card. Okay, so we've all placed our wagers. Now we can flip over the top tile from the wager stack. It is a sword. So the first thing that's going to happen is any tile that was wagered on something that's not a sword, any tile that wasn't wagered on sword, is going to go into the bank immediately. So that happens first thing. Then anybody that has wagered on sword, like this player over here, gets to collect based on the number of tiles that they wagered. So this player wagered 2 tiles on sword. Sword has a payout of 1. And so this person is going to get to keep these 2 tiles and also get to collect 2 things because they wagered 2 tiles. Swords are always worth 1, birds are always worth 2, and mountains are always worth 3. That applies to the wager round and also applies to the resource round. Okay, so this player is going to get their 2 rewards, and let's say they take 1 face-down tile. This is now their hidden information. They can look at this, but they don't want to show it to other players. and they'll also take a victory point. So now they've collected their rewards from their wager. Whenever a player has the option to take rewards, they always have the option to take tiles. Those could be face down or face up tiles from the bank, or they could take victory points, or they could break those up into any combination. So if I had the option to take 4 rewards, I could take 3 tiles and 1 victory point, or I could take all victory points, however I want to break that up. Okay, so we've now resolved all of the wagers, and now what we're going to do is flip over the top tile from the resource stack. So how does the resource stack work? I just flipped over a bird from the resource stack. So now any player that owns a bird tile is going to get a payout from that tile. In fact, they're going to get a payout of 2 because birds are worth 2. So for every bird I own, I get 2 rewards, and I can always choose between victory points and tiles for my reward. Alright, I have the fewest number of tiles here, so I'm going to collect first. So for these 2 birds, I'm going to get to collect 2 rewards for each bird that I own. So that's 4 things. And I'm going to break that up. I'm going to take 2 tiles and 2 victory points. So again, I get to look at these 2 tiles, but I don't want other players to see them. Okay, so I've collected my stuff. Now this player gets to take 2 rewards for this bird that they own because this tile matches what came out of the resource stack. And they might take 2 face down tiles so that they have that hidden information. Now, over here, this player is in an interesting position because they have 1 bird that's showing, so they definitely can take 2 rewards for that 1 bird, but they also have a face down tile, and they have the option to claim that that's a bird even if it's not a bird. So they can bluff. They can say, this is a bird. So that's what this player is going to do. They're going to bluff, and they're going to say, I have 2 birds. So any other player has the opportunity to challenge that claim, which I'm going to do. I'm going to say, I don't believe you. I don't think you have another bird under there. So in that case, this player has to show what they have, and indeed they do have a bird under there. So now, they get to steal something from me because of my bad accusation. And when they take something on an accusation, they can take victory points or they can take tiles. And let's just say this player chooses to take 1 of my victory points. So they've taken a victory point, but they're also owed 4 rewards for these 2 birds. So they get to collect those things. So they're going to take 2 more tiles and 2 more victory points. And because there are 5 here, we can trade those in for a silver. Okay, so that's a round. We've gone through how the wager works. We've gone through how the resource tile works. Before a round is officially over, 2 things have to happen. This is called a round reset. So the first thing that's going to happen is these 2 tiles are going to go from here into the bank. So these are now available for other players to take when they're collecting rewards. The other thing that's going to happen is every player has a buyback opportunity. And on the buyback opportunity, each player can use up to 2 of their victory points to buy tiles from the bank. And this is a one-way street. So you can use up to 2 victory points to buy tiles, but you can't use tiles to buy victory points. So let's see how this works. I'm going to do it. I'm going to use one of my victory points. I'm going to toss it into the bank, and I'm going to buy a face-down tile. I could have bought a face-up or a face-down tile. The exchange rate is 1 to 1. Okay, and that's 1 complete round of table tiles. The game lasts for 4 rounds. So once these 2 stacks are empty, and all of the wagers and the resources have been resolved, then the game is over. And the only thing that matters at the end of the game are victory points. Tiles are useful during the game, but again, everything that you need, the only thing you need at the end of the game are victory points. So that's Table Tiles, and I'm James Taylor. I hope you enjoy the game, and let us know if you have any questions. Thank you.